Thank you, Bob Hanna. At the gate, the field coming set. Number 1 is the reigning world champion. He's a Native American from Louisiana. He now lives in Italy. His name is Trampas Parker, and he comes here today for his one opportunity this year to race in GP competition in front of the American fans. But I got to tell you, Larry, the Americans, I think, have come here to see Trampas and the rest of these GP campaigners get beat.
I have to think you're right, Dave. It's been a tradition at Unadilla. The Americans, the top Americans, that is, will go out and do battle with the Euros. They're out there busting themselves up, going as hard as they can. Where the Euros, you know, they still have a series to decide. And European riders have a tendency maybe to slack off just a bit.
We're set for the drop of the gate, and the first moto is underway at Unadilla. The first of 3, the charge to turn number 1, and into the lead goes the Suzuki of Massimiliano Gazzarada. He's got a hole shot. He's put the best in the world behind him. Quickly moving into second spot is Peter Ivan of Belgium, and the Americans are stuck back in the traffic jam. Trying to make a move from third spot is Marnique Berveau, the Belgian rider. So, Larry, no Europeans slacking off here in the early running. They've got a great start, including this guy that nobody's ever heard of at Unadilla.
No one is right. I would have to think this is probably the first time in his life he has ever led a Grand Prix. Pressure could be a factor as he takes it easy coming up out of that gravity cavity uplifting experience, I guess we could call that, Dave. And now he has been passed for the number 1 position.
Peter Ivans Kawasaki takes over the lead, but Gazzarada's a game Italian. He comes right back at him in the battle for second, but now Berveau is the man on the move. Marnique Berveau, a veteran of the 125 class, moving to the 250 division, closing in on the leader, Ivan, and falling back to third spot is Gazzarada, who had the early lead. Way back in the traffic is Jeff Stanton. He's got catching up to do as Peter Ivan of Belgium takes command, and Gazzarada's on the ground.
So Gazzarada, the early hole shot artist, takes an early soil sample here at Unadilla. Watch him. He's just in over his head. He knew he was going to crash. He kind of slid it into that corner. He was looking, Dave, for some soft grass to land on. Picked out a good spot there.
Well, he did indeed, and so it's all Belgians up front. Peter Ivan on the Kawasaki has the lead. Marnique Berveau on the Yamaha is in pursuit, looking for a different line and a way to get around the challenger. Now, Berveau came into the race tied for 6th in the points. I think the key issue here is the situation with Donnie Schmidt, who was injured, and Brown is the world point leaders out of the race for the moment.
Yeah, he is indeed. Berveau stands to gain, as do the rest of the riders in the top 10. Now, if Schmidt is injured seriously and misses all of the races today, Dave, he's going to lose a pile of points. There are 60 points up for grab. He actually could lose the points race. So the key is how many of these top 10 riders can move up on Schmidt and make a challenge. And look, Berveau, he just kind of wheeled away from Ivan, and it looks to me like he's got this race well in hand at this point, and he'll break that tie for 6th place.
Keep in mind that while they name an overall victor for the day, it is individual points in each championship moto. Berveau, the leader. We'll be back with more after this. Bobby Moore, one of those Bobby Moore, one of those expatriate Americans who races the World Championship Series full-time. And the man in his mirrors is number 14, Jeff Stanton, who came from 10th in this moto to contend now for 5th spot. And I got to think Bobby Moore is feeling some pretty serious heat.
Yeah, I'm certain he is. But go back 2 years ago, Bobby Moore was a factor in the 125cc World Championship. He figured right down in the final races, actually finished second in the title chase. And now he's taking the taste of the 250 class up there with the big boys. And he's got the biggest of the big right behind him, Jeff Stanton. And if you look on the inside, we had a glimpse of Kidrowski. Stanton started 10th, and there's Kidrowski on the green motorcycle, the Kawasaki. He was 14th, so they have worked their way through this pack day.
Stanton and Kidrowski ride full-time in the U.S. Bobby Moore races in America perhaps once or twice early in the year, and then once during the championship season here at Unadilla at the GP. Stanton takes advantage of the Moore bobble and zips into 5th spot. He is headed for the front. Look at Kidrowski. He's going to try to get them both on the outside. Up and around, and takes over the good line and ducks right in behind Stanton. And so the 2 American stars of Supercross and national competition have moved up to 5th and 6th. And they'll set their sights on the rest of the Europeans up front.
Keep in mind, again, the Europeans are going for the World Championship points, Dave. The Americans that we're watching, Mike Kidrowski, Jeff Stanton, are here on a lark, if you will. They want to do as good as they can. They want to show the Europeans they're the best, but they want to stay out of the way. Now, he could have passed more earlier, I think. It would have taken, though, a rough and tumble move. They don't want to do that. They want to avoid avoid all of the confrontations. They're going to beat each other up as hard as they can, but they'll try to stay away from knocking the European around.
Now, in the old days of American motocross, the Europeans used to come over here and show us how it's done. And for an American to finish in the top 10 in a GP was unbelievable. Brad Lackey changed all that. He became the first American to win the World Championship, and now slowly, through evolution, the Americans have emerged as the world stars of motocross to the extent that most of them don't even go contest the World Championship.
Let's give a call to another American rider. That same year that Lackey won the 500cc world title, Dan Laporte became the first American to win the 250cc world championship.
Now check this out. Kedrowski makes a move on Stanton, and what a move. Motocross Mike is into 5th spot, and Stanton falls to 6th, and I think that one is definitely worth another look.
Now, here they come now. Kedrowski is just breathing down the jersey of Jeff Stanton. Stanton knows he's there. I think he's kind of riding the course right now and not too worried about Kedrowski, and that was a shocker when Kedrowski just got the drive and shot to the inside on that big fall-away downhill.
I guarantee you he'll worry about Kedrowski now. One quick final note about that World Championship situation. These guys can now make more money racing in America than they can overseas. An update on Donnie Schmidt. He's out of the hospital. He's back at the track. Here's Art Ekman.
To show you the desire of Donnie Schmidt, he did not get back from the hospital in time to make the start, but he jumped on a bike anyway. And right about this point here, a few moments ago, race officials took him off the track in this first moto.
Rider number 75, Donnie Schmidt, the third points leader.
It's legal that you can, or it used to be anyways, that you could ride, you know, it's just like if you're late for a race. But what happened was they filled a spot on the line, which was mine. So there's already 40 guys on the track, and they couldn't let me out there. So I agree with that.
Can you tell he's from Minnesota? You bet you can. He is the World Championship point leader, and he is out of the first of 3 point-paying races today, but he can come back and run the next 2 races. This is the battle for third. Kedrowski is the man on the move. He zings past Mike Healy, another American, and takes over 3rd spot. That will drop Healy to 4th, and closing in on this battle is Jeff Stanton in 5th. So the top 2 spots are held by the Belgian Marnique Verveau and the Brit Rob Herring, and now here is 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's 3 Americans, and I guess the unknown guy here is Mike Healy.
Yeah, Mike Healy finished a second in the World Championships 1 year ago, evidenced by the number 2 on the front of his Suzuki, Dave. He's not been a factor this year. He's had some bad luck throughout the season, and he's over here now just picking up whatever points he can, I suspect, looking for sponsorship for future years.
Kedrowski on the charge, and Healy now falls into the clutches of Jeff Stanton. They are battling for 3rd and 4th. Is it an overstatement to say that there's a little bad blood between these 2 guys?
Just a little bit. Jeff Stanton made some statements last year, or alluded to the fact that most of the Europeans that were, or most of the Americans rather, that went to Europe couldn't cut it over here in America. Now, I think Stanton was a little off base there, but anyhow, he said it, and Stanton says what he thinks. Healy took offense, and they almost came to blows. There's a lot of bad blood between these 2 guys.
Healy definitely thought he was off base, no doubt about that. But Stanton makes a valid point, and that is that the American kids who get the big buck contracts, as we alluded to earlier, stay in this country. They ride the Nationals and the Supercross. The guys who go to Europe typically don't have those big buck contracts. Stanton shows why. He is the big gun in American motocross, took his time, picked his spot, made the easy pass.
He wanted to avoid conflict with Healy. I think that he did exactly the right thing. The exception to that rule we were talking about would have to be Donnie Schmidt. Donnie Schmidt would be racing with the top Americans. There's no question in my mind. He is loaded with talent.
Schmidt is a very, very talented campaigner, and it would seem logical to assume that he'll be back for the start of the 2nd moto. The rules caught him out here in the 1st moto. They had already replaced him with an alternate. We go back and pick up the action as we look at Rob Herring, number 19, under attack from Mike Kedrowski. Kedrowski has come from 14th spot and looks like he's ready to be the class of this moto.
Difference in the styles between the Europeans as Kedrowski makes the pass and the American riders. The Americans, Dave, they run 100% flat out. The Europeans have a tendency to pick their places on the racetrack. They don't run 100%, I don't think, at all times. They realize they've got 3 motos to go. They got a long season, and they kind of play it that way. Americans, we run much shorter series. So an American rider has to get it done today. He has to get it done now, and it shows in their riding style.
And I think also the influence of Supercross. These American kids ride Supercross, which is so intense for 20 laps. We'll be back to see who wins the first moto right after this. We're back at the Dodge 250 US GP. You're watching the race for third and fourth. Number 19 is Rob Herring. Number 14 is Jeff Stanton, a Brit and an American, having at it for third and fourth. A couple of things we need to point out. Up front, Marnique Bourbeau, 10 seconds away. Not worth watching because he's running around all by himself. We should point out, however, that Peter Ivan has dropped back from second spot and is no longer a factor in the race. Mike Kudrowski has taken over second, and this is the race for third, and it's a good one, and I'll put my money on Stanton.
I think you have to. It's too late to look at it now, but Stanton come down that big downhill, and he was almost off the motorcycle. Typical American style. He just kept it dialed on. Herring wants to come back. He wants to come back desperately. It's not going to happen. Stanton has got that spot all his.
Herring also knows that the points that Stanton takes from him will not matter because Stanton won't be around after this. Herring would like to have those points. He's just inside the top 10 in the series standings, but it's not worth taking the kind of chance Stanton took down that downhill. Jeff is racing for pride. He doesn't want to let Kudrowski get away. Kudrowski's the man that number 14 is worried about.
Indeed, and Kudrowski is immediately in front of Stanton. Oh, Kudrowski is down on the ground. Mike Kudrowski on the ground. Stanton makes the pass, and he has now moved into second place.
He will set his sights next on Marnique Bourbeau, and I think we'll go back and take another quick look at what happened to Mike Kudrowski.
Oh, we don't have it, but, boy, that's a rutted corner there. Kudrowski's not separated too far from the bike. My guess is he just got tangled in the ruts, Dave, tipped over. It was not a hard crash. Kudrowski is up and running again out of this one, though.
Overhead, we see dark clouds beginning to gather above Unadilla, and I have a message for Marnique Bourbeau. There is trouble coming, Marnique, and it is not in the form of rain. Jeff Stanton is coming after you. Look here, Kudrowski is back on his wheels, as you said, and in a battle for third. Herring runs wide, gets her sideways, and right back into that position goes number 76, Mike Kudrowski. He didn't waste any time once he got off the ground.
He's got to say, what's going on here? I've been passed by Stanton. I've been passed by Kudrowski twice. What's hitting me?
Where are these guys coming from, anyway? Bourbeau had a 10-second lead. Stanton has turned up the wick and is going after the leader. Marnique Bourbeau of Belgium out front. The American fans cheering as Jeff Stanton and Mike Kudrowski try to run down the interloper from overseas. See the hats waving in the background? Guarantee is not waving them for this guy.
I promise you two things. One, Bourbeau can hear that crowd and he knows Stanton's coming. And I'll promise you another thing. Earlier, maybe 2 laps ago, Bourbeau had this one counted, had it in his pocket. No more. He's got company.
You don't think he believes that the Belgian bus just arrived and those people are all cheering for him then?
I don't think so. They are going nuts here at Unadilla cheering for Jeff Stanton. And there he is into the picture. That's the point, or that's the gap between the two riders, and they have whittled that down. Stanton has from what was once a 10-second lead.
You don't need a watch to time it anymore. It is measured in bike lengths on the racetrack as Marnique Bourbeau, who has led this race from lap 2, is suddenly under heavy fire in the late laps, and Stanton has timed it perfectly. Keep in mind there are 3 races today. This is just the first of those 3, and so Bourbeau must make a decision whether to save his energy knowing it's a long afternoon or try to make the charge and keep Stanton at bay. He wants maximum points.
He does, but if I'm Bourbeau and I'm thinking clearly and Stanton is going to continue that charge, I'm going to let him pass me. I'm going to take the second place and not even contest this whole thing. However, how many times have we said it? A racer is a racer. You don't think along those lines when you're on the racetrack. Bourbeau knows he's going to win this moto.
Larry, time is on his side. They are into the final lap. If Stanton's going to make the charge pay off, he's going to have to do it in a hurry. Time is running out as Marnique Bourbeau of Belgium streaks toward the checkered flag. See him looking back over his shoulder. He doesn't know where he is.
Corners left. He's just got to hold her in. And whoa, no!
He should have never looked back.
Oh, boy. Your heart's got to go out to the guy. That was just a plain, stupid error. He got into that pile of soft dirt. He was thinking, and Stanton waving at the crowd as he comes out. He was thinking, is he going to catch catch me? Can I hold on? What a shame.
Hey, he panicked. He panicked. He looked back. He saw the Stanton freight train coming. He freaked out and ran it off the racetrack. Stanton deserves to win it, and he does. Jeff Stanton takes the checkered flag. A couple corners from home, Marnique Mervaux let it all get away from him. Kedrowski takes third. Rob Herring fourth. Trampas Parker fifth. And here's a look at the rest of the top 10 as we go trackside and hear from Bob Hanna and the winner.